Well, thank you for joining us for our April Cultural Reflections. The first one we posted got blocked, so I think we can avoid that this time. Maybe not posting any videos. You will see the caption of Michael J. Fox there, going back to the future and really trying to overcharge some rock and roll. However, the reflections here point out, at least I was driving along the other day on the freeway, and I think most of you do this too. We don't like silence. We like to keep changing the car dial. Maybe the sports channel. Maybe, maybe it's a talk show. Maybe it's or some kind of music. And we go from this to that, and then it'd be good if we just spent the time alone and quiet with the Lord, and asked Him to speak to us and to calm our spirit and our give us peace as we begin the day. Many a day we go to work kind of all wired up, and we wonder why. Well, because perhaps what we plug into for energy is not exactly the energy we should plug into. And with that kind of saying, let's go to our montage of riffs, and some will be longer and shorter. Now, in the older days, they made short songs that opened, and the riffs were shorter. Some were really long, some over a minute, some 2 minutes even. Like Hotel California was well over 2 minutes. And then, again, do we plug into the Lord in prayer and the Word for strength? Or we like sugar or chocolate or ice cream or our favorite comfort food? Do we plug in for instant energy? Now, Boston, the one I got blocked for, was had the song Peace of Mind. Everybody's looking for it. Yeah. Bachman Turner Overdrive, it said taking care of business. And just by the riffs or the opening tune, you could identify that song. For instance, here's The Doors on Ed Sullivan. They covered Jim Morrison really well because even though he was crazed out on drugs when he sang, the band here had some really talented musicians, and they could cover those gaps where Jim Morrison needed to recover. So that's one riff. Then you've got the opening to Hotel California. About 53 seconds, I think, but you'd identify the song immediately. So you know what that is, but check out the downbeat syncopation on this riff. The 12 string. This is the original writer of the song who doesn't get much credit, but he's playing there right next to Joe Walsh, a young Joe Walsh. Sure, it looks like they're having fun together, but they are very skilled and talented. Here's Don Henley and Glenn Frey strumming along. Trying to get higher. Joe Walsh was the first to do that off the guitar. First guy to do that. I think it was more perfected by Van Halen. You'll see that in this little, well, you'll hear it at least, from You Really Got Me. And it's really a song that either your mother-in-law or your wife's really got you, and she drives you nuts. Here you go. The Van Halen brothers. See what I mean? That perfection. He did that. Okay, so again, these are interesting musical notes, and I pray that when we go to heaven, we find skillful people playing unto the Lord. Now, here's a little part of a video because it fits in today's society. Dude looks like a lady. It's because Joe Biden's group thinks that's okay, and it's not okay. We'll stop it there. As you can see there a little bit. That was Aerosmith. That's Liv Tyler's dad. And the song going there about the dude looks like a lady, well, that's become mainstream now. That was 1984 where it was like a no-no. But then we got the rebellious kind with Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it. I purposely don't show you these videos because when we plug into these powers, there are spirits. And here's the final one. And that's from over 50 years ago, Alice Cooper. School's Out for the Summer. That was a national anthem for most school kids every summer. The unfortunate thing about the clashing of the spirits is, where was the church here? Souls were being up for auction here as to the highest bidder, and usually these rock and roll bands came by, pretty much sold their souls to the devil, and took over. But I ask you, these kids were not born with a talent or piano or guitar in their hands. Who helped them get there? And why? And where was the church? And where were their parents? So that's the kind of thing I'm saying, that the songs in and of themselves probably not all that bad, but bad enough. They're not Christian. They're not worshiping the Lord. They're more about glorifying self and rebelling and doing all the wrong things. So I'm going to ask you, when you listen to those, because a lot of pastors still listen to those songs along the freeway. Yours truly, are we addicted, Christians? Are we addicted to our sin? I think we are. We need to take a good hard look as to maybe why we shouldn't be listening to that music, and rather turning on either a teaching or some kind of classical song or some kind of spiritual calming song that the Lord, Christian music that's good music, usually the authentic Jesus music is very, very good. So that's what I say. Something to think about today. Cultural reflections. Leave your comments below. Hit subscribe. Tell me what you think.